to computer. Oh, good. Brilliant. Now let's share my screen. Share. Brilliant. So you should be able to see the screen. Yeah. Thumbs up. Good. Brilliant. Okay, super. I'm just going to put you to this side, I think, there, so I can see what's going on. Right. Yeah, this is just a little, tiny touch about me. I suppose there I am in that picture there, looking at my sister, seeing what she's doing. I always seem to be doing quite a lot of that. I was actually born above that grocery store in West London, so I should be called Arkwright or Granville, but luckily I'm called Steve. It's like when we're talking about the names, it could make me chuckle, because I'm actually called Steve and Chris and Steve. So I've spent most of my school life saying it's when teachers said, "Oh, is it a PH or a V?" And it's like, no, it's just Steve. And it's like, oh, you can't be called just Steve. Well, I am. I'm really sorry, but I am. So it is just Steve. I say that's us as a youngster. That's my. Oh, hello. That's what's going on. That's my family there. My girls. I've got 3 daughters and a wife. There's some of my clients were on a trip with Chamber of Commerce, actually, a Chamber of Commerce event a couple of summers ago now, big time. And then there's me presenting to different groups on that. So that just gives you a little flavour of what I'm up to. We're here today for the 7 ways to build rapport and communication. And what it is going to be, really, it's going to be, I hope, an interactive session as much as it possibly can be. I'm not really keen on just talking to my laptop. It's not very interesting for me. And I'm sure, having met you, some of you, well, I know all of you actually now. I've only met Rebecca and Catherine without an E this afternoon at the chamber. So I'm sure we'll have some participation, really. So one of the things that I thought was really, I've been using this with all my clients really at the moment, is we can't adjust the wind, but we can adjust our sails. So it's very much, I know the lady spoke today and she said the RAF are saying control the controllables. And this is a similar thing, really, isn't it? It's like we can't control what's happening in the world, but can we go and talk to 10 more business owners or make 5 more calls every day? Certainly, of course we can. There's certain things we can control, certain things that we can do that are irrespective of what's going on around us in our environment. So just be mindful of what we can do. So it's very sort of stoic behavior. Just be careful of what we can do rather than what we can't do. Hopefully that makes sense. And the only failure really is the failure this afternoon is to participate. And so I'm looking for participation. If our pilot was, this is a runway and our plane is about to, imagine our plane is about to take off. It's quite apt from the fighter pilot we listened to at lunchtime. If our pilot wasn't 100% participating, we're going to end up in those mountains at the front there. Does anyone know how fast the plane needs to go to actually take off? Does anyone want to shout out? Any ideas? No, it's not.
No idea.
No idea.
250 miles an hour.
How much?
250.
Oh, 250. I think it's about 180. So it's not far off 250. Yeah, 180 miles an hour. And then boom, up you go. It's quite amazing, really. Interesting. So would we want our pilot to be participating certainly for that takeoff and certainly for the landing perhaps as well? There's Jane coming in. I'll just let Jane in. Let's check she's here. Hi, Jane. I can see your picture. Hello, Jane. Hi, yeah, brilliant, super, brilliant. You're just a bit about me. That's no problem. So you know me already, so no problem at all. So I'm just talking about participation, and we're looking for 100% participation. And with a show of hands, are you guys going to prepare? Are you? Oh, yeah, very good, Laurence. Straight up. Jane, hand, don't touch your glasses. I want to see a hand up. Thank you. Good, good. Catherine? Yeah, brilliant. Rebecca, good, good, good. So you're all going to participate this afternoon. Excellent. Now then, what is that? So just, this is a sort of say what you see kind of moment.
Horizontal line.
A line, yes, correct. It's a line. Yeah, so feel free to put, yeah, we'll do some bits, we'll comment in the chat box. But as there's, it's not a massive group, we can just speak, just shout out, really. You know, it's not a problem at all with any questions or going forward. So that is a line, yes. And we call this a line of choice, really. And this is a really key, bit like the, I'll just let someone else in, a bit like the mindset of setting our sail and controlling our sails. We're actually looking here at a mindset of how we think. And we can decide and choose our choice, and this is totally our choice, whether we want to be above the line in our behaviour or below the line. So this sort of sets the scene, really, of what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. So below the line behaviour is very much with that acronym BED. So it's blame, excuses, and denial. So we're blaming other people. So, for instance, it'd be great at the moment. We could have blamed Brexit. We could blame COVID. We're now going to blame oil prices. We're going to blame Russia and Putin and all sorts. So we can blame other people. We can make excuses for ourselves. Well, why didn't we get there? Or we ran out of time, or the traffic was bad, or whatever kind of excuse we've got. And then probably the worst bit is living in denial of thinking that we're actually doing a really good job, but we're probably not, because we're living in that kind of denial. So does that make sense? Does that make sense? Good. Just let another one person in. That's good. Then what we want to be doing really is we want to be above that line. So we want to be taking ownership, be accountable, and be responsible. So responsible adult humans don't fly south for the winter. Yeah, when it gets cold, we don't fly south. Some people might disappear off, but usually we stay put where we are. So let's we can do that. Let me just M's phone is a bit. I'm going to put on mute. All right. So yeah, so we're responsible for our actions and we're accountable. So we're being held to account. So that's probably the next level up. So that's kind of a number on, putting a number on things. And then we're looking at ownership at the top of the tree there. So are we owning our business, our role within that business, any given task or any kind of responsibilities that we've got? So hopefully that makes sense. Now, below the line is usually reasons why things don't happen. Yeah, they didn't happen because I was caught in traffic, because this, because that, whatever. And then above the line is usually results. These are things that have happened for us, which is great. So we want to be looking at also spending our time with these people that are energizing our behavior and our actions, which are the top on the right hand side, the top there, with the people with the energy to get going. And try and avoid the people that are going to suck your energy. So the people that are moaning and groaning and really generally getting down in the dumps. We want to be perhaps avoiding those guys, because they will just sap our energy and we won't be able to go forward with what we're trying to achieve. So hopefully that makes sense on that line of choice. And just so that, see if we can get a flavour of it. We're now on Thursday. So 10 would be, this whole week I've been taking total ownership of what I've been doing, and 0 would be, or 1 would be denial. I've been denying everything, making excuses, blaming everyone else. So if you can pop in the chat box what number you think you're at and you've been, and bear in mind you can dip below that line and then pop back up again. It's not a problem if you're aware of it. But have a little number. Let's see what we can. Let's see if we've got. So I just want to see if I've explained that properly. So let's have a look and see what we've got. So we've got. Oh, all right, yes. 9 from Catherine Scully, brilliant. Catherine 10, super. Lance 8, brilliant. Jane 9, Rebecca 8, missing 2, so keep. Yeah, okay, yeah, upcoming holiday, good one. Emily 9, excellent. Stacey, can you hear us? Okay, if you can pop in that in the box to us, that would be great. Stacey, no, Stacey, right there. Let's put it there. 1 second, Stacey. Okay, great, super, lovely. Thanks for doing that. Now let's move on. So next, oh, hang on, I've got another one. Stacey 9, brilliant. Thank you very much. Perfect. Good, some very good. We're very good above the liners today. Excellent, excellent. Now, next slide. Let's have a look. Now, interestingly, and this is what does make life interesting, everyone is different, aren't they, really? And everyone is different, and everyone is looking through the world through a different filter or a different set of lenses. So they're lenses that we're looking at there. So interestingly, someone used this. I thought, well, that's a really good idea, concept. I'm going to pinch that and use it in my next my next webinar. So we've got there. Everyone's looking through a different lens. So just to try and make a point on that, really. So you can see there. There's that one chappie there. He's saying it's a 6, and one chap is saying it's a 9. Well, they're both right, aren't they? Just because you're right doesn't mean I'm wrong. So you just haven't seen life from my side. So I thought, wow, what a really cool little slide that really. So 6, 9. What's the difference? Depends on the lens you're looking through, really, isn't it? So strength does lie in the differences with people, not the similarities. So when we're looking at communicating with people, we want people to be different to us and similar, but we want to be able to build rapport and generally get to feel what they're like and what they're not like. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just let another person in. Okay, brilliant. Okay, now this is a question for you for the chat box. How many F's can you see? So if you can just pop, give it a few seconds and pop into the chat box. How many F's can you see in that sentence, not including the title? Let's have a slip of drink. Okay, I'm not going to read them out yet. Okay, let's have a look.
2 on the 1615 Southern service to Brighton. Toilet East Worthing, Lancing, Shore Blessing, Southwick.
Someone's on the train.
Someone's on a train. Hello, I'm on the. Where are you? I'm on a train. What was that show? That was that. What's it called? I forget what it's called now.
Was it Dom Jolly? I'm in the library.
Yeah, Dom Jolly. What was the show called now?
Remember.
Jackass or something like that, wasn't it? But yeah, where are you? I'm on the train. As really loud as possible. Right then, we've got. Let's have a look at the scores on the doors. I like this slide. Oh yeah, so Lawrence has said, will you send the slide? Yes. So everyone, once you've done the slides, at the end of this session, I'll of course send out the slides to everyone who's attended. That's no problem. So Catherine 6, Catherine 5, Jane 6, 6, 0, 6, 6. Who's going to Brighton? Oh, Brighton trip, anyone? This is kind of you. Thank you. No problem. 6s, excellent. That your star people. There are 6. Very well done. Most people say 4 or 3 because they missed the O of result of years of and experience of. So well done, everyone. And knowing what some of you do, I'm not surprised you got that right anyway. So I'll have to try harder to try and catch you out for sure. Now then, let's move on. Now, part 1, communication, we're looking at really. So I've separated this into, it's got 3 little sections really. So part 1 is based around a principle invented by a guy called Dr. William Moulton Marston. So it's quite a quite a mouthful. Interestingly, it does say in Wikipedia that he invented the lie detector, and he invented or wrote the first Wonder Woman stories. So an interesting character. But on the disc side of things, the disc profile, what he's looking at really was as a profile that's designed to teach you about how you and others behave most of the time. What's your go-to mode or operation or modus operandus? If you're put under pressure at work, this is the mode you will go to. So let's have a little look a little bit more about what it's like. It is really. So really, we're looking at two axes, a vertical axis. Certain people are very outgoing, and certain people are very reserved. Okay, so that's on the vertical axis. So let's have a shout out for who do you sort of see on the TV or a famous person that's very outgoing? Just so we just check everyone. Someone who's a very outgoing person.
Amanda Holden.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, Amanda Holden. Yeah, she seems really outgoing, doesn't she? Brilliant. That's a great one. Great shout, Jane. How about a reserved person? Someone who's quite reserved. You think, oh, they're a bit shy. Shy and reserved. Probably not so one. Not one.
Susan Boyle.
Susan Boyle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Susan Boyle. Well, that's a great shout. Yeah, because I can remember. If you can remember when she wandered up onto the stage on it's Britain's Got Talent, isn't it? And Simon Cowell, you can see the look on his face, really thinking, oh my God, what is this person going to be doing? And then it turned out she was absolutely fantastic. Super. So some people are very outgoing. Some people are very reserved. Some people are very task orientated. So what kind of profession springs to mind if they're very task orientated?
Someone like Bear Grylls.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, Bear Grylls is a good one. Yeah, so it's got that task and it's got to achieve that. Kind of military people, they're kind of like, this is the task, we've got to do it, and no matter what cost, kind of thing, really, isn't it? An accountant, yeah, that would be a great one, Laurence. Yeah, accountant would be very sort of task orientated. And flip it to the other side then, on the horizontal axis, people. Some people are very people orientated. So who would be a sort of people person? A people-orientated person or a people-orientated profession?
Anyone in care, nurses.
Yeah, Alex Jones, somebody off the One Show, the presenter.
Oh,
Royal
yeah.
Family.
That's a good one. Yeah, a nurse. Yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah, a nurse against an accountant. A salesman. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's a good one. So a salesperson. People, yeah. So some people are people orientated. They want to be liked by people and others. So they're the four axes. And then what we're looking at really from there is we're looking at different groups really. And I kind of mentioned D and I and S and C when I'm ever talking about this. I never really mentioned the sort of dominance, influence, steadiness, compliance, because especially in a group of men, it's like, oh yeah, I want to be dominant. I want to be the dominant person. Who wants to be steady? Well, no one's really going to sign up for that. But it's not a thing that's a right or wrong by any means. This is how you are, but other people are like this as well in all these four different categories. So say there's no right or wrong on this. It's just how you are, and I'll explain. I'll get a little bit more into the detail on it really. So D's are very outgoing, very task orientated, and they're looking at results. They're very direct, very competitive. I's up there are looking, they're very enthusiastic, friendly, optimistic people. Yeah. And then the S's down the bottom there they're a bit more reserved, patient, modest, and a bit more sincerity, really. I suppose a steady there. These are guys and girls that are making the things oil in the wheels of things, really. I like to think of those, that oil in the wheels, which is good. I'll just let Stacey back in. Compliance, you're looking there at accurate, cautious, contemplative. So people are looking at detail and they're not so worried about people meeting people. So all the high, if you're a super high C, you would have been loving lockdown. So anyone that's locked down, right, we're not allowed to meet anyone. High C's, yeah, I'm up for that. Brilliant. Bring it on. If I never see anyone else again, I'm quite happy. Whereas the high I's in the opposite direction, in the diagonal, they would be dying, wouldn't they, really? They'd be just killing themselves. We've got to get out. When can I get out? Yeah, horrible that would be. Yeah, I'm dying. So, yeah, so it would be, I've got to get out. Where can I go? I can't stand this. And I keep saying to my class, well, I don't know many hermits. Most people are very sociable. Social, you know, in degrees, isn't it, really? In degrees. So hopefully that makes sense on that dominance, influence, DISC. There's no O, unfortunately. So does that make sense? So let's just, I just want to see a show of hands. Yep, cool, brilliant. I say there's no right or wrong in these it's just how you are. Now then, I've just got a little question, and this just tinks in quite nicely. I suppose hands up who likes Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is really cool. Really, Laurence? Wow, I can't believe not. Why can you not like Tom Cruise? I can't believe it. Anyway,
because of the Scientology.
Oh yeah. So no one's perfect, are they? You might think they are, but no one is actually perfect. So I've got a question for you then. You're building a team, so we're going to build a team and build a business. Are we looking for a team of safe hands? Yeah. Or are we looking for a team of mavericks? Oh, Tom Pros. So that's the question to pop into the chat box, please. Are we a team of safe hands or a team of mavericks? And you can only go with one. So one of these. Let's have a look. Okay. That's good. There's a few of you that are yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting mix. We've got how many? We've got safe hands 1, 2, mavericks 2, 3, 3. Oh, 4, 3. Wow, 4, 3. But when you said but, it's a bit of a trick question, really, because it probably would be both, wouldn't it, in fairness? I know I've sort of led you down the garden path there, because if we're a football team, we wouldn't have 11 goalkeepers. We wouldn't have 11 centre forwards. We want to have a team of mixed people, really. So in our team at work, and that could be surrounding you, if you're in business on your own, it could well be your accountant or your bookkeeper that's added to your team. So they're part of your team. So would want people that are slightly different. Yeah, does everyone agree with that? So the answer is probably both. I know I've said that you could only choose one, but those of you who put both, brilliant, you were first. Yeah, brilliant, that's great. So let's get moving on. So that's just a little aside. Now then, how do you spot the people that are in these groups, really? So these are some clues, really, and some of these clues work very well on eye contact, face to face, and some things will probably be more so in written language or emails, texts, etc. So really, you're looking at so let's have a look. For instance, eye contact. Our high D's will generally look you in the eye. So I'm looking right down the camera, right at the barrel of the camera, looking you in the eye. So they will be quite happy there. You don't want to be staring anyone out, but you'll be D's and I's will definitely be looking for making eye contact. High C's are probably not so much. My accountant, I had a meeting with him last year, and he was looking all over the place. He looked at everywhere in his room, except looking at me, and certainly didn't look in my eyes very often at all. So that's quite a nice little clue to sort of see what kind of mode someone is really. Body language, again, people that are more outgoing, probably standing taller. They've got their arms, nice gestures. They're quite happy to be noticed and to be recognised. Whereas people that are a little bit reserved are naturally more closed in their body language. So they're not going to be so big and bold, and so it's quite a sort of common sense, really. In fairness, I think you can sort of soon catch an idea of who people are. Handshakes is an interesting one, because to say, do you fist pump or handshake or not handshake or hug or whatever it is now, it's a bit awkward. But certainly back in the day when handshaking was pretty common, handshake, high D's would be trying to crush someone else's hand. I used to work for a German kitchen company, and both of the guys that we saw there had a really strong handshake that used to really kill your hand. So you'd be worried to shake the hands. Tone, pitch, and pace. And again, on that one, the D's and I's will be talking quicker and higher. Their pitch and tone will change. So there will be times when they're talking a bit more slowly, but then they'll be speeding up, and then they'll be talking louder and making inflections. So they're generally more varied. Whereas a high C, and I always mention my brother-in-law. I don't know as he knows, but I always mention my brother-in-law on this one, because he's very much a high C that talks very quietly, very slowly, very considered. And now that is nothing to do with intelligence. So none of this it's just how he is. So if I want to build rapport with him, guess what I need to do? I need to slow down, ask a question, and then give him time to answer the question, rather than firing off question after question after question after question. Because if I want to build rapport with him, if I don't want to build rapport with him, just carry on talking over him, asking him lots of questions. So just be aware of someone's pace, because you will be annoying if you're not going at their kind of pace within reason. So if you're meeting a high D and you're not a high D, you need to be making sure you talk quicker and louder than perhaps you normally do. Only a couple of decibels, but just go towards them. And if you're meeting a high C or an S, you need to slow things down and be a bit calmer and listen. So how are they listening or talking? So again, listening is probably more high C's and especially S's, because they'll be looking to steer things along, against those that are, especially high D's, will be talking a lot. So that will be something to spot from there. Greetings is a good one. High D's is a very abrupt, yep, hello, Saunders here, and they'll be looking to get on with things. High I's, if you ask a high I and say, oh, hello, how are you? Oh, yeah, Steve, I'm very well, thank you. But I tell you what, I've got a bit of a shoulder problem at the moment. And you think, oh, I didn't really need to know that. But now you mention it. Oh, thanks very much for that. So, and that will come through even on emails. So I've been sort of looking at this for a little while now, and you can really sell anyone that coming back when they just send an email. Yes, coming along, see you then. No, they're definitely in the D camp. Whereas the high I's will be, hello, how are you? Hope you've had a good weekend. Hope you're feeling well after such and such, la, 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 la. And then they'll get into the point. So hopefully that makes sense. Clothing wise, probably as you'd expect, really, the D's and I's want to be power dressing. They want to be standing out. And then against the C's and S's would be looking to blend in more. So that's quite a nice, good clue, really. Their office or their working environment, I think, yeah, interesting. They're saying, well, a high D would probably have really tidy desk, and he's got pictures of him or her with famous people, for instance. So it's trying to promote their importance. High I's would probably have lots of pictures of their family. Yeah, so their family and being within a group of people, for sure. And then high C's, sorry, high S's, they'd probably have just one little picture of their wife, maybe, or their partner, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And then a high C might have a picture of their wife or daughter or partner, but that perhaps be in a drawer somewhere that they'd bring out when that said person came along to the meeting, so to see them. So that hopefully that gives you a little bit of a clue, and that will reflect through into people's houses for sure. Manuals. So anyone that I've sort of looked at, worked for a long while now, and when we first started, it was look in the manual. And the people that are prepared to look in manuals would be more down in the C's and S's category. The D's and especially I's will not spend time looking in a manual. We do a DIS report I think the report at the moment is about 38 pages long, and of course, it's quite interesting when you get the report. The high I's will go, what am I? Oh yeah, I'm a high I. Brilliant, thanks, Steve. And then on they go. A high C will go, oh, okay, Steve, on page 27, paragraph 2, it says this. What does that mean, please? And they'll really go into a fine tooth comb on it. So that does link nicely into buying habits. So D's and I's are much quicker to make their mind up, whereas C's and S's are much slower to make their mind up. Doesn't mean to say they're not going to make their mind up, but they're less likely to give an instantaneous, yep, I'm on with that. I'm going to, yeah, that's for me. I'll buy that. So, or I'll have that. So they're just on that quicker sort of slide scale of making things move for them. So hopefully that makes sense. So I need to, yeah, just to see if it does. So if we're thinking of birds, and I'm not no expert on birds, but I've saw this and I thought this is quite an interesting little thing. Oh, but I'll tell you what, before we do that, let's think of a high D character, a famous high D character, just to make sure that we've got it right in a sort of humans, if you like. So if you can pop into the chat box, any high D characters, please. Let's see who we come up with. Let's have a look. The specs on. Right. High D. Johnny Bravo. Who's Johnny Bravo?
There's a cartoon character when I was younger, and he was very full of himself, would always approach every lady that he walked past. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're too young for me, Rebecca. Johnny Bravo. Right, brilliant. Simon Cowell. Yeah, he's a high D, isn't he? Definitely. Yeah, high D. He's in charge. Yeah. Piers Morgan. Yeah, he's probably a high D, isn't he, really? Yeah, he's quite, yeah, good. One of the chefs on the TV, Gordon Ramsay, the shouty one. Yeah, that's right. The shouty fellow. Yeah, he's definitely a high D. Brilliant. I think you've got the D, high Ds have got it, really. And remember, please remember, there's no wrong or rights in this. It's just if you're thinking to build rapport with people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And they've got friends that they think, oh, they're like me. They're more like me. Yeah, so you need to be more like these guys. So let's have a look at I's, high I's. Who would be a high I? Who are the famous chatty people? Let's have a look. Who are we coming up with? Who are you coming up? Ooh. Oh, yes. There's a clue there, isn't it? Chatty people. And Catherine's on my wavelength. Yeah, Alan Carr, chatty man. Definitely. Alan Carr. Fern Cotton. Yeah, I'd said Fern Cotton. Matt Baker. Yeah, he's a maybe, isn't it? I think Matt Baker's so nice. I think he's perhaps an S as well, really. Because he's not too loud, he's not too in your face, but he's a really nice sort of Kofi Annan types, moving things through type of person. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he would be like. But yeah, that's got, yeah, definitely it is that, yeah, chatty people, really, isn't it? What's his name? Chris Evans. He's a bit of a chatty. Anyone? Yeah, it's quite an easy one on that one. What about high seas? So famous sort of high seas people. It could be politicians. Who springs to mind? Any high seas? High sea. Yeah. Just think of the Spice Girls then. Any high seas? Hello, there's tumbleweed going across the screen now. Hello, we got one. Right, let's see who this is. Oh yeah, Prince Philip. Yeah, maybe. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Really? Yeah, hard to tell. Because he's kind of in public. He was quite happy to be second fiddle to the Queen, wasn't he? I saw a documentary on him, and he was really, really interesting chap. Did all sorts of different things. Yeah, Deborah Meaden. Yeah, some of those dragons would be, yes, he's drilling into detail on numbers, wouldn't they, really? Yeah. Camilla Parker Bowl. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. What about, what's his name? Gordon Brown, the ex-Prime Minister. Oh, yeah, Parker Bowles. Good one. Bowles, I read, not Bowles. That was the F's, and not seeing the F's there. Yeah, so that would be right. And then S's, I think that's the trickiest one is S's. Maybe it's, I always think of Kofi Annan. Anyone that's kind of smoothing things over, really. They're good, general, getting things done. So if it was a bird, then a high D bird, what would be a high D bird? Any ideas in the bird world? Just for fun, this is. Humour me. Hawk. Yeah, one I've got. Yeah, could well be. Yeah. An eagle. Yeah, so hawk. A peacock. Oh, a peacock. Yeah, that's a good one. Excellent. Yeah, I've actually. What have I put? An eagle. I've got an eagle. A D. A D is an eagle. Could be a hawk. A peacock might. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That might be a kookaburra. Oh wow, a cockerel. Yeah, interesting. What about an eyes? Eyes. I've got the speed it along it. I've got for an eye a parrot, because they're talk. Parrots talk a lot. Yeah. Hopefully get the idea. And then, I didn't mean to do that. Let me ask you the question. Trapped. Sport me a little fun. I've done it again. What animal, what bird do you think would be in the C category, everyone?
Oh, an owl, maybe.
Maybe an owl, yeah.
Correct. Definitely an owl, isn't it? Cautious little owl. What about, I don't know whether you saw that, what about an S? A dove, maybe.
Dove,
sort of peace sort of provider. Brilliant. I think that's a thumbs up. You've got the idea of this disc. Brilliant. Nailed that. Excellent. Obviously, we're touching on this, really. There's all sorts of things. You could do a whole day session on that, really. Yeah. Now, I must remember to control my mouse. Now, the disc we're looking at, really, because disc helps you understand and adapt your behavior to the style of others. So what we're looking at, really, most people think the golden rule is treat people how you want to be treated. No. Treat people how they want to be treated if you want to build rapport. Yeah. So just be aware of what they're like. Treat them how they want to be treated, not necessarily how you want to be treated. Because if you're in a different box of people, you're going to be causing problems. So I hope that made sense. Let's move on to part 2. So part 2 is how do you know So this is a little, just a sort of slightly aside, really. How do you know that you know something? How do you know what someone's like? Or how do you know? How do you know? So if you pop something in, 10, 30. How do you know? Good. Okay. Now, next little one then is for you. What would be 5, let's say, because I'm just looking at the time here, 3 traits of a know-it-all? Or one trait. Let's go for 1 trait. So if you're meeting someone and they're a right know-it-all, what traits do you think know-it-alls exhibit? Yeah. You can explain something. Yeah, you can get the answer in your head. Okay, good. Yeah, I think you've got some good ones there, really. Very good. Jamie, don't know yet. Explain it. Don't, yeah, good one, isn't it, really? Don't listen. Always has to be right. Correcting you, really, and minor things, isn't it, really? That's really annoying. Interrupts. That's a good one, really. Our sort of trait of a know-it-all. Speaks over you. Yeah, brilliant one, Stacey. So all the traits there, don't be like that person, really, because that is going to be, they're the people you don't want to be building rapport with. I think another one would be, yeah, showing off. It's all about them. People that some people have always got a story that trumps your story. If someone's been to France, oh no, I've been to Singapore. Or I've gone to the moon. Oh, well, I've actually gone to Mars. Well, hang on a minute. It just gets annoying, really, isn't it, really? And showing off, isn't it, really? No one really likes to show off too much. Excellent. So again, just give that some thought, really, isn't it? So think, well, actually, sometimes the traits that you want to exhibit, it's easier to go, well, what do you want? It's better to sometimes go, well, actually, what don't I want? Or if I don't want something, right, flip it and do the opposite of what isn't pleasant for people. Hopefully that makes sense. Just got one more. Yeah, tips on how you deal with a person of any tips on a person of this style? It depends on the setting, really. I'd be looking to think, well, actually, if it's in a group, it would be quite a nice one. So if we were all in a table and we were doing this session and one particular person was trying to monopolize the meeting, it would be a little bit easier for me to say, oh, thanks very much, Catherine. That's a great example. Can we hear from someone else? And I'd be trying to move the attention away from that know-it-all person, because that know-it-all usually will bring the group down if you spend all your time drilling into them. And I think a great phrase to use with these people is, if you disagree with something, is to say, oh, that's interesting. What an interesting way of looking at something. I hadn't thought about that. So it's always a good thing to say. I know it's something we're often taught, and it doesn't mean that you end up being, I know there's a danger of thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be seen as sarcastic. But if you say it in a sincere manner, then you can, it's not a problem. You can go, oh yeah, that's interesting. I haven't looked at it that way, because there are always 2 ways of looking at something, aren't there? So you could go, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea, and then move things on to another topic that you want to get on with. So hopefully that's touched on that. A very English answer. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's okay, Laurence. Surprising that, really, from an Englishman. Laurence is French, by the way. So there you go. Now then, let's move on to the third area. We're on schedule. So my third area. Oh, sorry, I missed this slide. Here we've got. I don't know whether you know if you can remember this guy, Harry Enfield character. And what can anyone remember his catchphrase? He always used to go around and anyone speak it out. Say, can you remember?
You don't want to do it like that.
That's it. Perfect. Yeah. You don't want to do it like that. You want to do it like this. Whatever it was, you don't want to do it like that. You don't want to do that webinar like this. And he would be bursting in. So it was a funny character. And then this guy here, Malcolm Forbes, the dumbest people I know are those who know it all. I thought, well, that's an interesting little quote when I was digging around for this. The dumbest people I know are those who know it all. How true is that? So part 3. Now then, part 3, I'm going to ask you a question. And I don't necessarily need to know the answer, but I want you to think for a minute. What's been your best ever birthday or Christmas present? Don't mind what it is. I don't need to know. I just want I want you to think of what you've got. All right. Hopefully it's not a piece of coal or something. Catherine, you might have a coal or a walnut or something like that you think, well, that was my best Christmas present ever. Certainly not mine. So think of something that you've had as a Christmas present. And then if you can give me the thumbs up when you've got it, just so that I can, yep, got it. Yep, brilliant. Now then, interestingly now, I don't really need to know what to say. I don't need to know what you said, but can you put in the chat box, did you see it in your mind's eye? Did you hear it? Or did you feel it? So this is another sort of mode of communicating, really. So did you see it when you were thinking about it? Did you hear it? Or did you feel it? So that's the question. So if you can pop your answers into the chat box. So it's just see, hear, feel. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Good. So we've got feel, saw. I'm making a little note of this. So feel 2, saw 1. One new message. See, yep. Is that everyone? Do I need a few more? I've got 1, 2. Feel, so feel, see. What feels? Excellent. Okay, interesting, isn't it? Really. So what we're looking at on here, and so I'm not looking to see what you've got, but certain people will see things or they communicate within themselves visually. So some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic, they feel things more, and some people listen. So for the visual learners or visual people, if we're talking to them, we want to show them pictures and get them seeing things. So and use words like I see what you mean, and can you see that? Does that look good to you? Use words of that nature. The kinesthetic people, does that feel good? What's that feel like? What's your gut instinct? So you'd use feely sort of words there. And then the auditory people would be, I hear what you're saying, or how does that sound? Does that sound like a good idea to you? So they're the sort of words you are using. Now, I don't think it's very difficult for people. I'm not what's the word? I'm not recommending that you try and work out what someone is along these 3 traits. Certainly you can on the disc thing. I think it's a lot easier. But on here, it's probably good to blitz people with the different things. So hence, hopefully you notice that we've got visual, so which is the PowerPoint webinar, the PowerPoint slides. The kinesthetic is you're actually typing in, raising your hands, typing in things. And then the auditory is hopefully listening to me and my voice. So I'm trying to make sure I'm attacking all three of the senses so that I'm keeping the communication flowing for everyone. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's have a look as a little tract. So visually, there's 65% of people are visual. So that's interesting. It goes against the grain a little bit on our little survey. 30% are auditory, and just 5% are kinesthetic. So we've actually got quite a lot of sort of bucking that trend from what I picked up on Google, which is interesting. But yeah, a lot of people are visual. They see things, so you want to show them brochures, show them pictures. A lot of people want to listen to the words, and then a great one is people want to touch and feel things, don't they? When you say, "Oh, can I look at that watch?" and they don't mean look at it; they mean they want to touch it and feel it. Can I feel it and make it for myself? So hopefully that makes sense. So that gives us the seven areas, really, I suppose, of better communication. So we've got kinesthetic, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and then we've got our DISC, D-I-S-C, and then the know-it-all bit was just kind of thrown in to build rapport, really. So that hopefully helps you. I'm not going to run through these. I thought I would include them on the session. So when I send out the slides, these slides will be here. So visual people, I don't like reading through slides. It's with words on slides, it's boring for me and for you. But I wanted to include these on the handout that I'm going to send out to you after the webinar. So visual people, auditory people. So there you've got there talking to themselves, reading out loud. Kinesthetic people, you can see there, and I'll send that across to you. Hopefully. So any questions, just to sort of finishing up really, so if we're coming to 5 o'clock. Any questions? Anyone's got any questions? Because I did forget to say actually at the start that we would be a very general session. So this is quite general. There's an awful lot more you can dig deeper into the DISC profiling, especially. As a sort of thank you for coming along to the webinar, I'm allocating an hour of my time in my diary to dig deeper, and we've got a little mini DISC questionnaire that you can fill out, and then I'll send that over to you. Then you can work out what you are, and then you can pass it around to your family and gifts and friends and whatnot, and colleagues at work. So that's like a little 1 hour session, so that we can dig a bit deeper into these areas if you want to. So that's that complimentary DISC session. So any questions? Has anyone got any questions? So I'm going to stop the share and we'll come back into the screen. So any questions? Anyone got anything? Any burning questions? That means I've explained everything perfectly. Fantastic. That's great. I don't believe you, by the way, but there you go. So I'm sure I've said something not quite right. Now then, what I would like then, so I'll let you get away with that, but I'd just like one thing you can think of that I'm going to focus on as a result of the hour today. What action point are you going to sort of think on and think, right, I'm going to do X, I'm going to do this?
Look at how people want to be treated. So where you think it's how you would want to be treated, actually think about how they want to be treated. Yeah, brilliant. Great one. Try that's a good thing. Yeah, try and match people's vibe better. That's a good phrase then. Vibe. Yeah. She must be a young person. Emily, you on where's your video? There she is. I'm glad I better explain actually. Emily's my daughter, my eldest daughter. So I'm really pleased she's not been interrupting me, because if we're at home, she would be. She's busy working in Norwich now. So yeah, I was going to say similar to Emily, Catherine. Yeah, it's trying to match that vibe, isn't it? Very good. Yeah. So try and be a little bit more. And again, and this is all about, isn't it? If you want to build rapport and get on with people, and usually life will be easier if you're getting on with people. Go along with these things. If you want to be, I might take it or leave it, this is how I am, well, you will, there's four blocks there. 3 of the blocks you're not going to be getting on with, really. And that's why sometimes you can meet people, don't you? Really, everyone meets people and think, "Wow, I've kind of feel like I know this person," and you've only really just met. So they're probably on your wavelength, aren't they? That you've got that vibe and you're doing that vibe. Brilliant. So how nice. Well, I'll have to read that while I was talking, so I'm not sure what she means by that. I'll have to reprimand her later when I next see her. Brilliant. All right, super. So it's now 5 o'clock, and so I will send out. I've got everyone's email address. I will send out the slides and then pop on the bit if you want to do a little follow-up session up to an hour. It can be half an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's entirely up to you. I'm quite happy to do that, and there's no strings attached on that. I'd like to again thank you very much for coming along. So I know I appreciate your time. It was great to see Catherine, and for Catherine with an E. I haven't seen you for a long while. That's good. Nice to see you, Jane, again. Nice to see you, Laurence, as always. And Catherine and Rebecca, thanks very much for shooting back from the chamber lunch. So that was really good. Regarding the will we receive it as well? Yes, what I will do, I will stop the recording and then I will put it on my, this is going to sound very flash now, I will put it onto my YouTube channel and then send you the link. How about that? Haha. So there you go. Brilliant. Lovely. I better stop recording now. Thank you very much for coming along. Really appreciate your participation. Everyone put their hand up. It's interesting that the full participation was from ladies. And luckily for me, 3 daughters, 1 wife. I'm quite happy with ladies. That's not a problem for me, really. Well, it is a problem, but it's a problem I've got used to. So there you go. So brilliant. Thanks very much again for coming along, ladies. And to say any questions, feel free to let me just get in touch, and I'll drop you this email later. If not today, it'll be before the end of the weekend or before the end of the week. Perfect. Lovely. Thanks a lot. Have a great
Bye.
evening.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.